doing up there, crazy? Isn't it beautiful? Oh, I think it's beautiful. I love when it snows. I'd have definitely been out skiing last night, but I'm going to get new tires today. One of the biggest tricks to being a safe driver in the snow is knowing what the limitations of your vehicle actually are. And for me right now, that's low tread southern tires. So in a car that removes power from the tires when they start to lose traction. So I could definitely get stuck, and I was definitely sliding a bit more than the rest of the cars. I know how to handle it. I'm a really good winter driver. Some of the tricks are, oh, we got a fuzz on your lens, I'm so sorry. Some of the tricks are things like stopping 8 feet before a light, so that if you see somebody coming up in your rear view that didn't leave enough time to stop, you can pull forward right when they would have hit you. Starting off pretty slow so that you don't dig a hole in the snow with your tires. You just, and if you're not moving and you're starting to dig a hole, drift back, rock forward, drift back, rock forward. You're trying to get that momentum to get moving. That's what you're doing. So yeah, I'm about to go spend about $500 on tires for the baby. Good news is I did finally get that heckin' engine light to clear. Yeah, I did. Finally. Asia footprints. Oh yes, this is excellent skiing weather. This is excellent skiing snow. And the skis and all the accoutrements are in the car, and I'll probably go in the dark after I get new tires, because I could really tell the difference between me and everybody else. I was to get going, and everybody else was just whoo. But and that first night it wasn't just me. I saw a couple cars ditched. One of them with a bit of damage, one of them just in the ditch. Didn't look like much else was wrong. So yeah, it's all just a matter of knowing your limits, knowing your car, stay calm, and correct for the misdirection, but don't overcorrect. A little bit of with the steering wheel is expected. Don't get fast. Remember that nothing is going to help you stop. Nothing. And the reason for that is, as you stop, the treads start to collect the snow in them, and so you may initially have grip on the ground, but that's why they have anti-lock braking, is to change which surface you're stopping on, because as you slide, you're packing that snow into the treads and you become a toboggan. So that's why you pump the brakes and leave like 40 feet to stop per 20 mile per hour. 15 if you're going just 8. 15 feet. And this is if your tires are bad, but it's just good to act like your tires are bad all the time. I learned to drive on a car that by the time we changed the tires, and metal strappings were showing true, you know. So I learned to drive in the snow on a car that probably should have never been in the snow, and I never had a problem with snow. Somebody came up and rammed me from behind one time, but that was them not stopping, not me. She got out of her car and said, I'm so sorry my four-wheel drive couldn't get into gear. And I said at 18, four-wheel drive does not help you stop. Four-wheel drive helps you go. That's why it's called drive. Braking is always four-wheel braking. So, here in the suburbs, in the burbs here, our roads are pristinely cared for, as you can tell. The salt truck can't get past my car, so that's why in front of my car isn't. But inside city limits of Pittsburgh, I haven't seen a single plow. Wait, I saw one while it was snowing the first night, but not the second night. That's what it was. And he was scraping and barely putting down. No, he wasn't even scraping. He was just throwing salt. And the roads are all slush, unless they're not drived on enough, and then they're just there, you know? I mean, it's compacted, and it's, as it melts during the day, and then it freezes at night, first thing in the morning, that becomes a sheet of ice. So that's what I was driving on to get to work this week. It finally motivated me to make that car appointment that I'm about to head to. Isn't it beautiful? I love snow. I love the winter. And I really want to go cross-country skiing bad. Bad. I want to go so much. I want to go cross-country skiing so much. So, the stuff's in the car. I'm ready. And it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. The thing that makes it good for skiing is that there's this underbase. Like, it snowed, and then it warmed up, compacted, froze overnight, and then snowed again. So you're not going to be breaking through the snow into the grass. You're going to be gliding across the top. And that makes me very happy. I love it. So, yep, this is the garden. Garden's doing really good. I'm really happy with it. This is a time of year where I find it to be risky to dig things up and transplant them. I took the risk with those Osher dogwoods. And, you know, it happens. Sometimes I take risks. Sometimes I don't. So, I took the risk with the Osher dogwoods and put them in the hedge line in the front there. And there's, of course, several new plants that I've dug up just that I put in just before winter. Here's one that is continually leafing out despite the cold. Can you tell that that's still green? Now you can. Wild, huh? It's the same species as one in a fence over, just past that. I pointed accidentally to the persimmon. That's the persimmon. And then this is the Prunus besseyi that's been here all along. And then in the spring I want to transplant into there because this circle thingy here is highly inconvenient. I'd rather have it in the fenced area. That's a native cherry that needs a cross-pollinator, but also is in the far, far north of its range, so I need to remember to cover it in the springs to protect it from frost and stuff, you know. Generally, they recommend you leave the asparagus fronds up over the winter because they do help protect the root ball from deep freeze. And once the snow starts to collect in there, it kind of creates a little bit of an insulated space, reduces the wind, reduces the scorch, and also the shade of it reduces the amount of freeze thaw because it doesn't thaw as quick when those fronds are shading it. So that's what that's recommended. A lot of people cut it the whole way down. But also a lot of people complain to me that their asparagus doesn't live as long as mine has. Mine's already somewhere between 12 and 15 years old. So a lot of these here are annuals, and I'm just really hoping that they'll sell free seed. So I left a lot of fruit on the plants and let the fruit drop. And then towards the end, I have a propagation bed for the magnolia tree. Can't remember the scientific name right now, but it's Sweet Virginia magnolia, which is an evergreen with creamy, pastel-y, white, yellow type flowers that then produce magnolia cucumbers. And it is evergreen. So I've got one right there. The original species grows to be 100 foot tall, but these were seeds off of a dwarf. And if it's not going to be dwarf, then I will trim it to be dwarf, is what it'll happen. And the quail are, of course, in the hutch. I didn't ever empty out their water. Fudge. I should do that, so it doesn't break the container. The compost, I probably should be putting a lid on, but I have not done. I've been collecting more clear panels from the dock for use with the quail hutch. And I've also, I feel like these are going to be useful. They've been useful a couple times already, but I seem to have an unlimited supply available to me of stub ends of electrical conduit, aluminum electrical conduit. So I'm thinking about how to use those too. They've been building materials a bunch of times already, but that said, I'm not sure that that's the only thing I want to use them for, and I'm not sure if I can actually use them like consistently, repeatedly, a bunch, you know. Trying to think of ways that they'd be useful long term. Quail are doing great. They're in here. Oh, and the temperature is 0 and or 32. 32 to me, 0 to a lot of yins. These are the red twig native Osher dogwoods that I did transplant from in front of the porch. One there, one here. They don't turn red until it gets cold. The twigs don't, but gosh, that's pretty, huh? I like it. And then of course we've got all the wood chip and twig pile up here. I don't know what came driving up here. Something did though. Looks like ATV wheels. All-terrain vehicle, if you don't know what that stands for. There's another angle in the garden there with the sun. Wow, the sun in the background. So, the stairs definitely make the cliff very accessible during this time of year, and from here you can really see them. See the structures. Woo, I have to balance a little bit with my knee here. You can see the structure of the cliff pretty well now that everything's dormant. Like here's the top, there's path 1, there's path 2, my terracing. You can't see here only because that invasive honeysuckle is still really taking over this section. But my retainer wall used to only go to here, and now it's continued to here, and I do want to keep continuing that. And the reason that it's very accessible during the winter is, look at the bunny twacks. Pretty much just rabbits right now, because I put in these tire stairwell. This tire stairwell right here still needs more sidewalls trimmed out of it. Past this one, you see this sidewalls there, and those are squishy. So the front lip of the stair rolls on these where it doesn't feel like it does here. I mean, there's a squish, but the wood chips are packed right up to the edge. So from here, you kind of have to put your weight in the heel because the front edge squishes and it can throw you off your balance if you're not ready for it. But yeah, here you can really see that I've got to here and then it continues to there. I was hardly, if at all, down here this summer though, so everything's a little bit unkept. I'm wondering if this sumac that I planted rooted through and caused these two sumacs. This is an early fruiting precocious variety that I got from the riverside in the trails, but there was an even better one up near where my uncle lives. I really want to see if I can stop by and get some of those one of these times I've visited them, but with Omicron going around, I'm holding off visiting them. So that's because he's way out in the sticks and he doesn't, you know, fun. He's afraid more of the help than he is of the danger. Oh, look, that's 3 juvenile red-tailed hawks circling above, crying into the wind. You hear them over the highway noise? I hope so. It's a beautiful day, so I'm gonna go get those tires. Thanks so much for visiting the cliffside. This has been Permaculture. Take care.